Love ended where your lies began.
I should have known something was wrong when my wife started doing yoga at midnight. My name is Dave Morgan, and 3 months ago, I thought I had it all figured out. Married to Erica for 6 years, managing Romano's restaurant downtown, living in our little suburban house with the white picket fence that Erica insisted we paint every spring. The American dream, right? Wrong, dead wrong. It started with small things. Erica would disappear for hours, claiming she was at advanced fitness classes with her friend Jana. She'd come home sweaty, sure, but there was something different about her energy. Electric, guilty, like she'd been doing more than squats and lunges. "How was class tonight?" I'd ask, looking up from my laptop where I was reviewing restaurant schedules. "Oh, same old routine," she'd say, avoiding eye contact as she headed straight for the shower. "Jana pushed us really hard tonight." Jana. That name started appearing in every conversation. Jana said this. Jana thinks that. Jana wants to try this new place. I'd met Jana exactly twice in 6 years, and both times she looked at me like I was something stuck to her shoe. The real wake-up call came on a Tuesday night in March. I was in bed, half asleep, when I heard Erica whispering in the kitchen. At first, I thought she was on the phone with her mother, but then I caught fragments of what she was saying. "He has no idea," she whispered, followed by soft laughter. "Dave's so clueless he thinks I'm actually getting fit for him." I crept to the bedroom door, my heart hammering against my ribs. "No, he can't even do a push-up, let alone—" More laughter. "Trust me, there's no comparison." A chill shot through me. I stood there in my boxers and old restaurant t-shirt, listening to my wife mock me to someone who clearly knew more about our marriage than I did. When she hung up and came back to bed, I pretended to be asleep. She slid under the covers, and I could smell something on her skin that wasn't her usual lavender body wash. Something musky, masculine. The next few weeks were torture. I started paying attention to everything. The way she'd smile at her phone when she thought I wasn't looking. How she'd suddenly developed an interest in expensive lingerie that she never wore around me. The mysterious bruises on her thighs that she claimed came from intense workouts. I'm not proud of what I did next, but desperate times call for desperate measures. I started following her. The first night, she said she was going to Jana's for a girls' night. I waited 20 minutes, then drove to Jana's apartment complex. Erica's car wasn't there. I called Jana's landline from a payphone outside a gas station. "Hello," Jana's voice was thick with sleep. "Oh, sorry, wrong number," I said, hanging up quickly. "So where was my wife on her girls' night?" I got my answer the following Thursday. I told Erica I had to work late for inventory, but instead I parked across from our house and waited. At 7:30, she came out wearing a dress I'd never seen before, got in her car, and drove toward downtown. I followed her, keeping 3 cars back like they do in movies. She pulled into the parking lot of Murphy's Gym, the fancy place where all the real estate agents and insurance salesmen worked out. The kind of place that had a juice bar and charged $200 a month. Through the floor-to-ceiling windows, I watched my wife walk up to a man I recognized immediately. Roland Price. I'd seen his face on bus stop advertisements all over town. Roland Price, your key to success. With his perfect smile and his perfect hair and his perfect everything. What I witnessed next made my stomach drop into my shoes. Erica walked right up to Roland, put her arms around his neck, and kissed him like she hadn't kissed me in years. Long, passionate, the kind of kiss that says, "I've been thinking about this all day." I sat in my car for 2 hours, watching them work out together, watching him spot her on the bench press, watching her laugh at everything he said. When they left together in his silver BMW, I didn't follow. I couldn't. I just drove home and sat in my kitchen, staring at the refrigerator covered in our vacation photos, and wondering how long I'd been living a lie. That night, when Erica came home at 11:30, I was waiting for her. "How is Jana's?" I asked. "Oh, great. We watched some romantic comedy and ate too much ice cream." She kicked off her heels and headed for the stairs. "I'm exhausted." "Funny thing," I said, my voice surprisingly steady. "I called Jana around 9. She was asleep." Erica froze on the 3rd step. "What?" Wrong number situation, but she was definitely home, alone, asleep. She turned around slowly, and for the first time in months I saw real fear in her eyes. "Dave, I can explain." "I'm sure you can. You've gotten pretty good at explaining things lately." We stared at each other across our living room, 6 years of marriage hanging in the balance. The grandfather clock in the hallway ticked loudly, marking the seconds of our relationship's death. "It's not what you think," she said finally. "Really?" "Because I think my wife is having an affair with Roland Price, the real estate guy with the perfect teeth and the gym membership. Am I wrong?" The color drained from her face. She opened her mouth, closed it, then opened it again like a fish gasping for air. "How long?" I asked. "Dave, please." "How long, Erica?" "4 months," she whispered. 4 months. 4 months of lies, of fake fitness classes, of coming home smelling like another man. 4 months of me being the clueless husband, while she and her lover probably laughed about how easy it was to fool me. "I want you out," I said. "This is my house, too." "Then we'll see what a lawyer says about that." She stared at me for a long moment, and I saw something shift in her expression. The fear was replaced by something harder, meaner. "You know what, Dave? Fine. Maybe it's time you knew the truth. Roland is everything you're not. He's successful. He's confident. He's actually good in bed. I've been pretending to be happy with you for years." Each word hit like a physical blow, but I kept my face neutral. "Good to know. And another thing, this isn't just some affair. We're in love. Real love. Not this boring, dead marriage we've been pretending to have. Congratulations." My calm response seemed to frustrate her. She wanted me to yell, to cry, to beg. Instead, I stood up and walked to the kitchen. "Where are you going?" she called after me. "To make some coffee. It's going to be a long night." I heard her stomping upstairs, then the sound of drawers being yanked open. She was packing. Good. It would save me the trouble of doing it myself. While the coffee brewed, I pulled out my phone and sent a text message that would change everything. "No worries about tonight. I won't be alone. I have guests coming over." I sent it to Erica. Within 30 seconds, my phone was ringing. "What guests?" she demanded. "Just some people who've been wanting to meet you." "Dave, what are you talking about?" "You'll see." I hung up and waited. She called back immediately. I let it go to voicemail. She called again and again. 20 minutes later, I heard her car in the driveway. She burst through the front door, wild-eyed and panicked. "Dave, what guests? Who's coming over?" I was sitting in my recliner, calmly sipping coffee. "They're already here." She looked around the empty living room. "Where?" "Right there on the couch." She turned to look at the couch and saw him sitting there, looking as shocked as she did. Roland Price, in all his perfect-haired glory. "Hello, Erica," he said quietly. "Roland? What are you doing here? How did you—" "Dave, what is this?" I took another sip of coffee. "This is me introducing my wife to her boyfriend. Although I guess you two have already met." "You called him." Erica's voice was climbing toward hysteria. "I didn't have to call him," I said. "He's been here for 20 minutes. Haven't you, Roland?" Roland looked like he wanted to disappear into the couch cushions. "Look, man, I can explain." "Oh, I'm sure you can. You both seem really good at explaining things. But here's what I don't need explained. The 4 months of lies, the fake fitness classes, the hotel receipts I found in your car. Roland, yes, I've been in your car, and the lovely text messages you two have been sending each other." I pulled out my phone and started reading. "Can't wait to feel you inside me again. Dave will never make me feel the way you do." I looked up at Erica. "That was from last Tuesday, honey, right after you told me you loved me." Erica's face went white, then red, then white again. She swayed on her feet. "And this one's from you, Roland. Your husband's a joke. Can't believe you wasted 6 years on that loser." That was particularly charming. "How did you—" Roland started. "Get your text messages? Turns out, when you leave your phone unlocked at the gym while you're in the shower, people can see all sorts of interesting things. Amazing what technology can do these days." Erica made a sound like a wounded animal and collapsed onto the floor. When she came to, she was lying on the couch with Roland hovering over her like a concerned puppy. I was still in my chair, still drinking coffee. "You bastard," she said, struggling to sit up. "You had no right to go through our private messages." "Our private messages?" I laughed, and it sounded bitter even to me. "Erica, you're my wife. He's the man you've been screwing behind my back for 4 months. There is no our when it comes to you two." She stood up unsteadily and slapped me across the face hard. The sound echoed through the room like a thunderclap. "Feel better?" I asked, rubbing my cheek. She slapped me again, then turned and ran out of the house. A moment later, I heard her car start and the screech of tires as she peeled out of the driveway. Roland and I sat in silence for a long moment. "So," I said finally, "this is awkward." Roland cleared his throat. "Dave, I want you to know that I never meant for it to happen this way." "How did you mean for it to happen? You were going to send me a formal letter? Maybe a fruit basket with a note explaining that you were stealing my wife?" It developed naturally. We met at the gym, started talking, had some things in common. Like what? A mutual dislike of me?" He had the grace to look ashamed. "Look, your marriage was already in trouble. Erica told me you two barely talked anymore, that you'd grown apart. And you believed her? Why wouldn't I?" I laughed. "Because 3 days ago she told me she loved me and wanted to start trying for kids. Does that sound like someone in a failing marriage?" Roland's perfect composure cracked a little. She said you two were practically roommates." "We were practically roommates because she was spending all her time with you." I stood up and walked to the window. Roland's BMW was parked in my driveway like a silver middle finger. "Tell me something, Roland. When you were texting my wife about what a loser I am, did you ever think about the fact that you were helping her lie to someone who trusted her?" We didn't mean to hurt you." "You didn't mean to hurt me?" I turned around to face him. "You've been screwing my wife for 4 months. You've been to hotels together, you've been planning a future together, and you didn't mean to hurt me? We were going to tell you, eventually." "When? After you two ran off into the sunset? After you helped her take half of everything I've worked for?" Roland stood up. "I think I should go." "Yeah, you should. But first, I want you to understand something. This isn't over, not by a long shot." "What's that supposed to mean?" "It means that for 4 months, you two have been playing games with my life. Now it's my turn to play." Something in my voice made him take a step back. "Dave, don't do anything stupid." "Stupid? Like trusting my wife? Like believing that the woman I married actually loved me? Don't worry, Roland, I'm done being stupid." After he left, I sat in my living room and made a list. Not a grocery list or a to-do list, but a revenge list. Everything I was going to do to make them pay for what they'd done to me. But first, I needed help. I called my old college roommate Nate at 11 p.m. He answered on the second ring. "Dave, what's wrong? You sound terrible." "Erica's having an affair." "Jesus, are you sure? I caught them together tonight. Well, not together, but I confronted them both. It's been going on for 4 months. I'm coming over." "Nate, it's 11 o'clock. "So, my best friend just found out his wife's cheating. I'm coming over." Nate arrived 20 minutes later with a bottle of whiskey and a laptop bag. He's one of those IT guys who can make computers do things that probably aren't legal. But he's also the most loyal person I know. If I was going to war, I wanted him in my corner. "Tell me everything," he said, pouring 2 glasses of whiskey. I told him about the midnight yoga, the mysterious bruises, the fake girls' nights, the text messages, everything. "So what do you want to do?" he asked when I finished. "I want to destroy them." "Okay, but legally." "Of course legally. I'm not going to jail over this." Nate opened his laptop. "Then we need evidence, real evidence, not just text messages you saw on his phone." "What kind of evidence?" "Photos, video, financial records, hotel receipts, phone records, everything that proves this affair has been going on and that they've been spending money on it, especially if they've been using joint accounts." "How do we get all that?" Nate smiled, and it wasn't a nice smile. "Leave that to me. But I'm going to need your help with the surveillance part." "Surveillance?" "We're going to follow them, document everything, build a case that will hold up in divorce court and make sure you get everything you deserve." "Is that legal? Following your own wife? Taking pictures of her in public places? Absolutely. It's not illegal to document adultery, Dave. In fact, in this state, it can affect the divorce settlement." We spent the next 2 hours planning. Nate showed me how to use tracking apps, how to take photos without being noticed, how to document everything with timestamps and locations. By the time he left at 2 a.m., I felt like a private investigator. The next morning, Erica came home while I was getting ready for work. She looked like she hadn't slept. "We need to talk," she said. "Do we?" "Dave, I know you're hurt, but we can work through this." I stared at her in amazement. "Work through this? You've been cheating on me for 4 months and you think we can work through it? It was a mistake, a stupid mistake. I'll end it with Roland right now if you want me to." "If I want you to?" I laughed. "Erica, the fact that you need me to ask you to end your affair tells me everything I need to know about how sorry you really are." "That's not what I meant." "What did you mean?" She sat down at the kitchen table and put her head in her hands. I meant that I choose you. I choose our marriage. You chose Roland 4 months ago. You chose him every time you lied to me, every time you went to a hotel with him, every time you came home and pretended to love me while you were thinking about him. I do love you. No, you don't. You love the security I provide. You love having someone to pay half the mortgage while you play house with your boyfriend. She looked up at me with tears in her eyes. That's not true. Prove it. How? Give me your phone. What? Your phone? Right now. Let me see every text message, every call, every email. If you're really sorry, if you really want to save our marriage, you'll hand over your phone right now and let me see everything. She clutched her purse tighter. I can't do that. Why not? Because it would be humiliating. For who? You or me? For both of us. I'm already humiliated, Erica. I'm the guy whose wife has been screwing around on him for 4 months, while he was too stupid to notice. What I want to know is whether you're willing to be humiliated to save our marriage. She stared at me for a long moment, then shook her head. I need some time to think. Take all the time you want, but do it somewhere else. This is my house, too. Then call a lawyer and we'll figure out who gets what, but I don't want you sleeping here anymore. Dave, I'm serious, Erica. I can't look at you right now without seeing you with him. I can't sleep in the same bed where you've been lying to me for months. I need space, and I need you gone. She left that afternoon with 2 suitcases and a promise to call me in a few days. I watched her drive away and felt something I hadn't expected. Relief. That evening, I started my surveillance operation. I knew from the text messages that Roland worked out at Murphy's gym every day at 6 p.m. I parked across the street at 5:30 and waited. Sure enough, he showed up right on schedule in his silver BMW. I followed him inside, paid for a day pass, and set up on a treadmill where I could watch him without being obvious. He was everything I wasn't. Tall, muscular, confident. The kind of guy who looked like he belonged in a gym, unlike me with my restaurant manager's physique and my 10-year-old sneakers. But here's what I noticed. He was also kind of a jerk. He didn't re-rack his weights. He hogged the equipment. He spent more time looking at himself in the mirrors than actually working out. And when he talked to other people, there was this arrogant edge to his voice that made me understand why Erica might have been attracted to him. She always did like guys who thought they were better than everyone else. After his workout, he went to the juice bar and ordered something green and expensive. While he was waiting, his phone buzzed. He smiled when he read the message, typed back quickly, then made a phone call. Hey, beautiful, he said, loud enough for half the gym to hear. Yeah, I got your message. Tonight works great. Same place as last time? Perfect. I'll bring the wine. I didn't need to be a detective to figure out who he was talking to. I followed him out to the parking lot and watched him drive toward downtown. Instead of following him, I went home and called Nate. He's meeting her tonight, I said. Same place as last time, whatever that means. Did you get any pictures? Some. Nothing too exciting, just him being his usual charming self? Good. Keep documenting everything. The more evidence we have, the stronger your position will be. Nate, can I ask you something? Sure. Am I doing the right thing? This whole surveillance thing feels kind of creepy. Dave, your wife cheated on you for 4 months. She lied to your face every single day. She made you feel crazy for suspecting something was wrong. You have every right to protect yourself and find out the truth. But what if I find out more than I want to know? Then at least you'll know. Look, you can stop this anytime you want. You can file for divorce tomorrow and walk away. But if you want to make sure you get what you deserve, if you want to make sure they don't get away with screwing you over, then you need evidence. He was right. I needed to know everything. The next night, I followed Erica. She was staying at Jana's apartment, which turned out to be a dump in a complex that had seen better days. At 7 p.m., she came out wearing another dress I'd never seen and drove toward the Marriott downtown. I watched her walk into the hotel lobby like she owned the place. 10 minutes later, Roland showed up with a bottle of wine and a cocky smile. They met at the elevators, and even from across the lobby, I could see the way they looked at each other, like teenagers sneaking around behind their parents' backs. I took pictures of everything. Them meeting, them getting on the elevator together, the timestamps, the license plates, everything. But the worst part wasn't what I saw. It was how I felt watching it. Not angry, not hurt, but empty. Like I was watching strangers. The woman I'd been married to for 6 years was gone, replaced by someone I didn't recognize. I went home and added the photos to the file Nate had helped me create. Evidence, documentation, proof. Tomorrow, I would start fighting back. I spent the weekend planning my next move. Erica had texted me twice, both times asking if we could talk about us. I ignored her. Roland, apparently, had blocked my number after our awkward living room encounter, which was fine by me. I had other ways to reach him. Monday morning, I called in sick to work and drove to Roland's real estate office. Price and Associates occupied a glass-fronted building downtown, the kind of place that screamed success with its marble floors and expensive artwork. Roland's picture was prominently displayed in the window, along with his sales awards and his motto, "Your dreams are my business." I walked in like I belonged there. "I'd like to speak with Roland Price," I told the receptionist, a young woman with perfect makeup and a practiced smile. "Do you have an appointment?" "No, but tell him Dave Morgan is here. He'll want to see me." She made the call, and I watched her expression change from professional politeness to confusion. "He says he's in a meeting," she said, hanging up. "Tell him I'll wait, all day if necessary." "Sir, I really think you should make an appointment. Tell him I have some photos he might be interested in." Another phone call. This time, the confusion turned to concern. "He'll see you now," she said. "Third office on the left." Roland's office was exactly what I'd expected. Leather furniture, awards on the walls, a view of the city. He was sitting behind his desk trying to look calm, but I could see the tension in his shoulders. "Dave, this is unexpected." "I'm sure it is." I sat down in the chair across from his desk without being invited. "Nice office. Business must be good." "What do you want?" "I want to talk about my wife." "I don't think that's a good idea." "Really?" "Because I think it's a great idea. See, I've been doing some thinking about your situation, and I realized something interesting." "What's that?" I pulled out my phone and scrolled through the photos I'd taken at the hotel. "You're a public figure, Roland. Your face is on bus stops all over town. Your reputation is your business, and right now, your reputation is tied to a married woman who's lying to her husband." His face went pale. "What are you getting at?" "I'm getting at the fact that these photos of you and my wife at the Marriott might be very interesting to your clients, and your boss, and your wife." "My wife?" "Oh, did I forget to mention that I know you're married? Samantha Price, right? Works at the bank downtown? I bet she'd love to see these pictures." Roland stood up so fast his chair rolled backward and hit the wall. "You son of a witch. Now, let's keep this professional. After all, we're in your office. What do you want?" "I want you to understand that actions have consequences. For 4 months, you've been helping my wife lie to me. You've been sneaking around, using hotel rooms, planning a future together while I paid her bills and trusted her completely. Did you really think there wouldn't be consequences?" "Dave, I told you before, we never meant to hurt you." "And I told you before, I don't care what you meant, I care what you did." I stood up and walked to his window. From here, I could see the whole downtown area, including the hotel where he'd been meeting my wife. "Here's what's going to happen," I said, still looking out the window. "You're going to end this affair, today, right now. You're going to call Erica and tell her it's over, and you're never going to contact her again." "And if I don't?" I turned around and smiled. "Then these photos go to everyone. Your wife, your boss, your clients, the local newspaper. I'll put them on social media with a nice caption about how Roland Price, family man and trusted real estate professional, likes to help married women cheat on their husbands. You're blackmailing me. I'm giving you a choice. End the affair or face the consequences. That's not blackmail, that's justice." Roland sat back down heavily. "Fine. I'll call her. Right now. In front of me. Dave, right now, Roland, or I start making phone calls of my own." He picked up his phone and dialed. I could hear it ringing, then Erica's voice answering. "Hey, baby," she said, and the casual intimacy in her voice made my stomach clench. "Erica, we need to talk." "What's wrong? You sound weird." Roland looked at me. I nodded. "It's over," he said. "The affair, us, everything. I can't do this anymore." Silence on the other end of the line. "What are you talking about?" Erica's voice had gone sharp. "I'm talking about ending this. We made a mistake, and it's time to fix it." "Roland, what's going on? Are you with someone? Is this about Dave? Just don't contact me anymore, okay? It's better for everyone." "Roland, don't you dare hang up on me. Don't you dare." He hung up. The phone immediately started ringing again. "Don't answer it," I said. "She's going to keep calling." Then turn off your phone. He powered down his phone and looked at me with something that might have been respect. You know this won't stop her, right? She'll find other ways to contact me. That's your problem. My problem was that my wife was cheating on me with you. Your problem is that you got involved with a married woman who doesn't like being told no. I headed for the door, then stopped and turned back. Oh, and Roland? If I find out you've contacted her again, or if she shows up here, or if this affair continues in any way, those photos go public immediately. Are we clear? Crystal. Good. Have a nice day. I left his office feeling better than I had in weeks. But I knew this was just the beginning. Erica called me 6 times that afternoon. I let every call go to voicemail. Finally, I listened to the messages. Message 1. Dave, what did you do? Roland just broke up with me out of nowhere. What did you say to him? Message 2. I know you did something. This is so typical of you, trying to control everything. Call me back. Message 3. Fine, don't call me back, but this doesn't change anything between us. We still need to talk about our marriage. Message 4. I went by Roland's office. He won't see me. His secretary said he's not taking calls. What did you do to him? Message 5. Dave, this is ridiculous. You can't just threaten people and expect... The message cut off mid-sentence. Message 6. Call me back now. Instead of calling her back, I called Nate. How did it go? He asked. He agreed to end the affair. Just like that, I had some compelling arguments. The photos, plus the fact that he's married and his wife doesn't know about the affair. He's married? You didn't tell me that. I found out this weekend. Samantha Price works at First National Bank. They've been married 3 years. Jesus, Dave, this guy was cheating on his wife with your wife? Apparently, which makes him even more motivated to keep this quiet. So what's next? Next, I deal with Erica. She's not going to take this lying down. I was right. She showed up at my house at 8 p.m. and she was furious. Open this door right now, she yelled, pounding on the front door. I know you're in there. I opened the door and she pushed past me into the living room. What did you do to Roland? I had a conversation with him. What kind of conversation? The kind where I explained that actions have consequences. She spun around to face me, her eyes blazing. You threatened him. I gave him information and let him make his own decision. What information? I pulled out my phone and showed her one of the photos from the hotel. This information. She stared at the photo, her face cycling through a dozen emotions. You followed us. I documented your affair. You had no right. I had every right. You're my wife. Or were you planning to file for divorce before you started sleeping with other people? That's not... We were going to... This is complicated, Dave. No, it's not complicated. It's simple. You cheated. I found out. Now there are consequences. What consequences? I sat down in my recliner and looked at her calmly. Roland ended the affair today. He won't be contacting you anymore. You can't control who I see. You're right, I can't. But I can control who sees these photos, and Roland's wife might be very interested in knowing what her husband does in his spare time. Erica's face went white. You told his wife? Not yet, but that depends on what happens next. What do you mean? I mean that if this affair is really over, if you're really sorry, if you really want to save our marriage like you said, then you'll agree to some conditions. What conditions? First, you move back home. No more staying at Jana's, no more running away when things get difficult. Okay. Second, you give me complete access to your phone, your email, your social media accounts, everything. If we're going to rebuild trust, I need to know that you're not hiding anything from me. She hesitated. That seems extreme. Extreme? Erica, you had a 4-month affair. You lied to me every single day. You made me feel crazy for suspecting something was wrong. Giving me access to your accounts isn't extreme. It's the bare minimum for rebuilding trust. What else? Third, you start marriage counseling with me. Real counseling, not some weekend workshop. We're going to figure out how this happened and make sure it never happens again. And if I agree to all this, you won't send the photos to Roland's wife? If you agree to all this and actually follow through, then no one else needs to see the photos. She sat down on the couch and put her head in her hands. This is humiliating. Yes, it is, but not as humiliating as finding out your wife has been cheating on you for 4 months. I never meant for it to go this far. How far did you mean for it to go? I don't know, it started so innocently, just talking at the gym, having coffee after workouts. He made me feel attractive, interesting, like I was more than just a wife and a fitness instructor. And I didn't make you feel those things? Not like he did. Her honesty was like a knife to the chest, but I kept my expression neutral. So what changed? When did talking and coffee turn into hotel rooms and lying? I don't know. It just evolved. One day we were friends, and the next day we were kissing in his car. And once that happened, it felt like there was no going back. There's always a choice, Erica. Every time you met him, every time you lied to me, every time you came home and pretended everything was normal, you made a choice. I know that, and I'm sorry. Are you? Or are you just sorry you got caught? She looked up at me with tears in her eyes. I'm sorry I hurt you. I'm sorry I lied. I'm sorry I made such a mess of everything. But are you sorry you did it? She was quiet for a long moment. I don't know how to answer that. Then we don't have anything else to talk about. I stood up and walked to the front door. You can stay at Jana's or you can find somewhere else to go, but you can't stay here. Not until you figure out whether you're sorry you cheated or just sorry you got caught. Dave, wait. No, Erica, I'm done waiting. I waited 4 months for you to be honest with me. I'm not waiting anymore. She left that night and I didn't hear from her for 3 days. When she finally called, her voice was different, quieter, more serious. I want to come home, she said. Have you thought about what I asked you? Yes, and I'm sorry I cheated. Not just sorry I got caught, but sorry I did it. Sorry I hurt you, sorry I lied, sorry. I threw away 6 years of marriage for something that was never going to last. And the conditions? I agree to all of them. Complete transparency, marriage counseling, everything. Okay, come home. But even as I said it, I knew it wasn't going to be that simple. The trust was broken, maybe permanently. And Roland might have agreed to end the affair, but I had a feeling this war was just getting started. I was right. Erica moved back home on a Thursday night, carrying the same 2 suitcases she'd left with a week earlier. We ate dinner in awkward silence, made small talk about the weather and the restaurant business, and went to bed in the same house, but not the same room. I'd moved my things into the guest bedroom. How long are we going to sleep separately? She asked as I gathered my pillow and alarm clock. Until I can look at you without seeing him. Dave, this was your choice, Erica, all of it. The affair, the lies, the consequences. I'm trying to save our marriage, but I'm not going to pretend everything is fine when it's not. She kept her word about transparency. She gave me her phone password, her email login, her Facebook account information. I went through everything, and it was worse than I'd imagined. Months of messages between her and Roland, planning their meetings, talking about their future together, making jokes about me. One message thread from 2 weeks earlier made me physically sick. Erica. Dave asked me about the bruises on my legs again. Roland. What did you tell him? Erica. That I fell off my bike. He's so gullible. Roland. Poor guy has no idea his wife is getting satisfied by a real man. Erica. Stop. You're terrible, but you're right. Roland. When are you going to leave him? Erica. Soon. I just need to figure out the logistics, the house, the money, all that stuff. Roland. Don't worry about money. I make enough for both of us. Erica. What about your wife? Roland. What about her? She'll get over it. I showed the messages to Erica the next morning over coffee. You were planning to leave me, I said. She read through the conversation, her face getting paler with each message. Dave, I wasn't thinking clearly. I was caught up in the excitement of the affair, saying things I didn't mean. Which part didn't you mean? The part about me being gullible or the part about planning a future with him? All of it. I was living in a fantasy. A fantasy where you took half of everything I've worked for and ran off with your boyfriend. It wasn't like that. It was exactly like that. I took my phone back and put it in my pocket. This is why I can't sleep in the same bed with you, Erica, because 2 weeks ago you were planning to destroy my life, and now you're sitting here drinking my coffee and telling me you want to save our marriage. People change their minds. Do they? Or do they just change their tactics when their first plan doesn't work out? She didn't have an answer for that. We started marriage counseling the following week with Dr. Patricia Hoffman, a no-nonsense therapist who specialized in infidelity recovery. The first session was brutal. Erica, Dr. Hoffman said, can you help Dave understand why you chose to have an affair rather than address the problems in your marriage directly? I don't know. It wasn't a conscious choice. It just happened. Affairs don't just happen, Dr. Hoffman said. They're a series of choices. The choice to spend time alone with someone you're attracted to. The choice to share intimate details about your marriage, the choice to meet in private, the choice to be physically intimate. Can you identify the moment when you made the first choice? Erica squirmed in her chair. I guess when I started complaining to Roland about Dave, about our marriage. What were you complaining about? That we'd gotten boring, that we didn't talk anymore, that the romance was gone? Dr. Hoffman turned to me. Dave, were you aware that Erica felt this way? No. She never said anything to me about being unhappy. Erica, why didn't you talk to Dave about these feelings? Because I didn't think he'd listen. He was always busy with work, always stressed about the restaurant. I felt like I was bothering him when I tried to talk about relationship stuff. So, instead of trying harder to communicate with your husband, you chose to communicate with another man. Yes. And when that other man showed interest in you, how did that make you feel? Special. Attractive. Like someone actually wanted to hear what I had to say. I felt like I was being dissected in that therapist's office. Every session revealed new layers of betrayal, new reasons why my wife had decided I wasn't worth being faithful to. But the worst part was that some of what she said was true. I had been working a lot. I had been stressed about the restaurant. I had stopped making an effort to be romantic. Dave, Dr. Hoffman said during our third session, what role do you think you played in the deterioration of your marriage? I worked too much. I took Erica for granted. I stopped making her feel special. But did those things justify her having an affair? No, nothing justifies that. Erica, do you agree? Yes. I should have talked to Dave about my feelings instead of looking for validation from someone else. It sounded good in the therapist's office, but I could tell Erica was just saying what she thought we wanted to hear. There was something in her eyes, some reservation, that told me she wasn't fully committed to this process. My suspicions were confirmed 2 weeks later. I was at work, dealing with a crisis in the kitchen when Nate called. Dave, you need to see something. I'm kind of in the middle of a situation here. This can't wait. Meet me at the coffee shop on 5th Street in an hour. Nate, 1 hour, Dave. Trust me. I left the restaurant in the hands of my assistant manager and drove to the coffee shop. Nate was waiting for me in a corner booth, his laptop open and a grim expression on his face. What's going on? I asked, sliding into the seat across from him. I've been monitoring Erica's online activity like you asked, and she's been careful. No more messages to Roland through her regular accounts, but she created a new email address 3 days ago. My stomach dropped. Show me. He turned the laptop around so I could see the screen. There was an email account I'd never seen before, and the inbox was full of messages to and from Roland. How did you find this? She's been accessing it from your home computer. I installed some monitoring software the last time I was over just in case. I scrolled through the messages, and with each one, I felt my heart break a little more. Message from 3 days ago. I miss you so much. This marriage counseling is torture. I have to sit there and pretend I want to save my marriage when all I want is to be with you. Roland's response. I miss you too, but we have to be careful. Dave is suspicious, and if he finds out we're still in contact, he'll follow through on his threats. Erica. What if we just left right now, tonight? We could go to California, start over. Roland. With what money? I can't access my accounts without my wife finding out, and you don't have anything in your name. Erica. I could get money from our joint account. Roland. How much, Erica? There's about $15,000 in savings, plus I could max out the credit cards. Roland. That's not enough to start over. Erica. Then what do you suggest? Roland. We wait. Play along with the counseling. Make Dave think you're committed to saving the marriage. Once he lets his guard down, once he stops watching you so closely, we'll figure out our next move. I felt like I was going to throw up. When was this sent? Yesterday. So while she was sitting in counseling telling me she was sorry, she was planning to rob me blind and run off with him. Looks that way. I scrolled through more messages, plans for secret meetings, discussions about which of our assets would be easiest to liquidate. Intimate messages that made it clear the physical relationship was continuing. There's more, Nate said quietly. More what? They're meeting tonight, 8 p.m. at the Marriott, same room as before. I closed the laptop and sat back in my chair. I can't believe this. What do you want to do? I want to end this, tonight, permanently. Dave, don't do anything stupid. I'm not going to hurt anyone, but I'm done playing games. That evening, I drove to the Marriott and waited in the parking lot. At 8:15, I saw Erica's car pull in, followed 5 minutes later by Roland's BMW. I gave them 20 minutes to get settled. Then I walked into the hotel lobby. The desk clerk was a young man who looked like he'd rather be anywhere else. "Excuse me," I said. "I need to deliver something to one of your guests, Roland Price. He's expecting me. I can call up to the room if you'd like." "That's okay. I know the room number. 412, right?" "Actually, sir, I show Mr. Price in room 318. "Oh, right. 318. Thanks." I took the elevator to the third floor and found room 318. I could hear voices inside and laughter. My wife's laughter. I knocked on the door. The voices stopped. "Room service," I called out. "We didn't order room service," Roland's voice said. I knocked again. "Complimentary champagne from the management." I heard whispering, then footsteps. The door opened, and Roland appeared wearing a hotel bathrobe. When he saw me, his face went white. "Hello, Roland." "Dave, what are you doing here?" "I came to talk to my wife." "She's not here." "Really? Because I can see her clothes on the chair behind you." Erica appeared in the doorway, also wearing a hotel robe. Her hair was messed up, and her lipstick was smeared. "Dave, I can explain." "Can you?" "Because I'd love to hear how you explain this while you're supposed to be at your book club meeting." "How did you know we were here?" I pulled out my phone and showed them a screenshot of their email conversation. "Because you've been planning this for days, along with your plan to steal $15,000 from our joint account and disappear to California." Roland grabbed the phone and stared at the screen. "How did you get these?" "The same way I got the photos. The same way I've been getting everything. You two aren't as smart as you think you are." Erica started crying. "Dave, please." "Please what? Please don't tell your husband that you've been lying to him for weeks. Please don't expose the fact that you've been planning to rob him and run away with your boyfriend. What exactly are you asking me not to do, Erica? I never meant for it to go this far." "Yes, you did. You meant for it to go exactly this far. You just didn't mean to get caught." I looked at Roland, who was standing there like a deer in headlights. "And you. I gave you a chance to end this quietly. I offered you a way out that would have protected everyone. But you couldn't leave it alone, could you?" "Dave, listen. No, you listen. Both of you. This ends now. Tonight. Permanently." "What are you going to do?" Erica asked. "What I should have done weeks ago." I turned and walked back toward the elevator. Behind me, I could hear them arguing in frantic whispers, but I didn't care what they were saying. I was done listening to their lies. Tomorrow, everyone would know the truth. I didn't sleep that night. I sat in my kitchen with a cup of coffee and my laptop, preparing for war. By morning, I had everything I needed: photos, emails, text messages, hotel receipts, bank records, a complete documentation of my wife's affair and her plan to steal from me. Erica came home at 6 a.m., looking exhausted and defeated. "We need to talk," she said. "No, we don't." "Dave, please, let me explain what happened last night." "What happened last night is that I caught you in a hotel room with your boyfriend after weeks of you pretending to want to save our marriage. What exactly needs explaining? It wasn't supposed to happen. We were just going to meet to say goodbye, to end things properly. In a hotel room, wearing bathrobes. I know how it looked. It looked like exactly what it was. You lying to me again." She sat down at the kitchen table and put her head in her hands. "What are you going to do?" "I'm going to file for divorce today, and I'm going to make sure everyone knows exactly why." "Everyone?" "Your friends, your family, your coworkers, Roland's wife, his boss, his clients, everyone who needs to know what kind of people you really are." "Dave, you can't do that. It will ruin us. You should have thought about that before you decided to cheat on me. Again. I'll fight you on the divorce. I'll get a lawyer." "Go ahead. Get the best lawyer you can afford, because I have evidence that will hold up in any court, and when I'm done, you'll be lucky to get the clothes on your back." She looked up at me with tears streaming down her face. "I never wanted it to end like this." "Then you shouldn't have started it." That afternoon, I went to see a lawyer. Margaret Chen was a divorce attorney with a reputation for being thorough and ruthless. Her office walls were covered with degrees and awards, and she had the kind of confidence that comes from winning more cases than she loses. "Mr. Morgan," she said after I'd laid out my situation, "this is one of the most well-documented cases of adultery I've ever seen. With this evidence, we can pursue a fault-based divorce that will heavily favor you in the property division." "What does that mean?" "It means your wife's infidelity will be taken into account when dividing your assets. Instead of a 50-50 split, you could end up with 70 or 80% of everything." And the money she was planning to steal? We can get a court order freezing all joint accounts immediately. She won't be able to access a penny without court approval. How long will this take? With evidence this strong? 6 months, maybe less? I signed the papers that afternoon. By evening, Erica had been served with divorce papers and a restraining order freezing our joint accounts. She called me, screaming, "You froze our bank accounts? I can't even buy groceries." You should have thought about that before you planned to steal $15,000. That money is half mine, was half yours. Now it's evidence in a divorce proceeding. This is insane, Dave. You're destroying both our lives over a mistake. A mistake? Erica, you had a 4-month affair, lied to me for weeks in counseling, and planned to rob me and disappear with your boyfriend. That's not a mistake. That's a crime spree. I want to come home. You can't. The restraining order says you have to stay at least 100 feet away from the house. Where am I supposed to live? That's not my problem anymore. But Roland's problems were just beginning. The next morning, I printed out every email, every text message, every photo I had of their affair. I made copies and put them in manila envelopes addressed to specific people. The first envelope went to Samantha Price at First National Bank. Inside was a letter explaining who I was, along with photos of her husband with my wife and copies of their most intimate email exchanges. The second envelope went to Roland's boss at Price & Associates. It contained evidence of Roland using company time and resources to conduct his affair, along with copies of emails where he discussed leaving his wife and abandoning his responsibilities. The third envelope went to the local newspaper's gossip columnist. Roland was a minor celebrity in our town, with his real estate ads and his charity work. The columnist would love a story about the family man who was secretly cheating on his wife with a married woman. I hand-delivered all 3 envelopes before noon. By 2 p.m., my phone was ringing. "Dave, what have you done?" It was Roland, and he sounded panicked. "I kept my promise." "What promise?" "I told you that if the affair continued, there would be consequences. You chose to continue it, so now you get to face the consequences." "My wife left me. She took the kids and went to her mother's. My boss is talking about firing me. You've destroyed my life." "No, Roland, you destroyed your life. I just made sure everyone knew about it. This is insane. You can't just ruin people's lives because you're angry. I'm not ruining your life because I'm angry. I'm ruining your life because you helped my wife betray me for months. And then you had the arrogance to think there wouldn't be consequences. What do you want from me? I want you to understand that actions have consequences. For months, you and Erica treated me like I was nothing. Like I was some pathetic husband who deserved to be lied to and cheated on. Well, now you know what nothing feels like. Dave, please, I'll do anything. I'll pay you money. There's nothing you can do, Roland. It's too late. I hung up and turned off my phone. That evening, Erica showed up at my house despite the restraining order. She was crying and looked like she hadn't slept in days. "Dave, please," she said through the front door. "We need to talk." "You're violating the restraining order." "I don't care. My whole life is falling apart. I lost my job because one of your envelopes went to my boss. Jana won't talk to me because she says I'm toxic. My mother hung up on me when she found out about the affair. I have nowhere to go. You should have thought about that before you decided to cheat on me. Please, just let me come inside, just for a few minutes." Against my better judgment, I opened the door. She looked terrible. Her hair was unwashed, her clothes were wrinkled, and she had dark circles under her eyes. "What do you want, Erica?" "I want to fix this. I want to make it right. There's no fixing this. It's over. It doesn't have to be. We can start over, go to counseling, rebuild our marriage." "With what marriage? You spent 4 months planning to leave me for another man. You lied to me in counseling. You were going to steal our savings and disappear. What exactly is there to rebuild?" "I made mistakes." "Stop calling them mistakes," I shouted, and she flinched. "Mistakes are accidents. Forgetting to pay a bill is a mistake. Having a 4-month affair and planning to rob your husband is not a mistake. It's a choice. A series of choices. Hundreds of choices to betray me and lie to me and treat me like garbage. I'm sorry. No, you're not. You're sorry you got caught. You're sorry there were consequences. But you're not sorry you did it. Because if you hadn't gotten caught, you'd be in California right now spending my money with your boyfriend. She started crying harder. "What do you want me to say?" "I don't want you to say anything. I want you to leave. And I want you to stay away from me. Dave, I love you." "No, you don't. You love the security I provided. You love having someone to fall back on when your other plans don't work out. But you don't love me. because people don't treat the people they love the way you treated me. That's not true. Prove it. How? You can't, because it is true. You spent 4 months with Roland talking about what a loser I am, how gullible I am, how much better he is than me. You planned a future with him. You were ready to steal from me and disappear. The only reason you're here now is because your plan fell apart, and you need somewhere to land. She wiped her eyes and looked at me with something that might have been understanding. You're right. What? You're right, I don't love you. Not the way I should, not the way you deserve. It was the first honest thing she'd said to me in months, and it hurt worse than all the lies. Then we're done here. Dave, I'm scared. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't have any money. I don't have a job. I don't have anywhere to live. You'll figure it out. You're resourceful. After all, you managed to conduct a secret affair for 4 months while making me think everything was fine. I'm sure you can figure out how to get a job and find an apartment. Can I at least get some of my things? Make a list. I'll pack them up and leave them on the porch. Dave, that's all I can do for you, Erica. I can't save you from the consequences of your choices. Nobody can. She left that night, and I never saw her again. 3 months later, the divorce was final. I got the house, the cars, and most of our savings. Erica got her personal belongings, and a small settlement that would last her about 6 months if she was careful. Roland's life imploded completely. His wife divorced him and got custody of their children. He lost his job and his real estate license. The last I heard, he was working at a car dealership in another state, trying to rebuild his life from scratch. As for me, I learned something important. Sometimes the best revenge is simply making sure the truth comes out. I didn't have to destroy them. I just had to stop protecting them from the consequences of their own actions. 6 months after the divorce, I was sitting in my kitchen drinking coffee when my phone rang. It was a number I didn't recognize. Hello? Dave, it's Erica. I almost hung up, but curiosity got the better of me. What do you want? I wanted to apologize, really apologize, not because I want something from you, but because you deserve to hear it. Okay. You were right about everything. I didn't love you the way I should have. I was selfish and dishonest and cruel. I treated you terribly, and I'm sorry. Thank you. I also wanted you to know that I understand now why you did what you did. The envelopes, the evidence, all of it. I thought you were being vindictive, but you were just making sure the truth came out. And I deserved it. We both did. How are you doing? I'm okay. I have a job at a gym in Phoenix. I'm renting a small apartment. I'm in therapy, trying to figure out how I became the kind of person who could do what I did to you. Good for you, Dave. Yeah? I hope you find someone who loves you the way you deserve to be loved. Thanks, Erica. Goodbye. Goodbye. I hung up and sat there for a while, thinking about forgiveness and second chances and the price of secrets. Then I finished my coffee, got dressed, and went to work. I had a restaurant to run and a life to live, and for the first time in over a year, that life belonged completely to me.